I wanted to say hi to everybody and thank you for your giving to the mission at New Life. One of the things that I wanted to give you a little update on is if you missed State of the Church, some really cool stuff happened. One of the things that was a memory for me was we had a couple there that had been missionaries in Brazil for 36 years, and back in '64, from '64 to '68, this couple pastored in Silverdale, Dave and Sherry Harrison. And Dave actually was bivocational. It was a small church, 15 people. He drove bus for the school district, and as he drove that bus around this community, he prayed that God would plant churches all throughout this community. And 6 months ago, we had the pleasure of having them at New Life on a Sunday. Went out to lunch afterwards, and with tears in their eyes, they just said, "Hey, we can see today that God answered our prayers." They were at State of the Church praying over us, and it was a really cool moment for I think our church, just to see this, that the mission, it actually begins and ends with God. It's a lot bigger than us, and it's something that God's doing in this world. We're just a little piece of it, and we're doing our part. But I think it's good to know there are people who've been praying and sacrificing long before we ever came on the scene, and we're part of this great movement that God's building in this world. At that evening, a couple cool things happened. One is I had a couple come up to me, and it was just with joy in their faces, that the guy told me, "It's been 1 year now that I've been porn free." And just to look at his wife and to see the pride and joy she had for her husband, and the freedom that he's having now in Christ, and the growth in their life. That was a really cool moment. It was a really cool moment. I just noticed, like, even with all the booths that we had going on, there's so many different families that are owning different pieces of this mission, and they're saying, "This is my place on the mission." I noticed there are people who are involved with the Impact Basque ministry to say, "Hey, we want to see a church planted in amongst the Basque people where there's no evangelical church." We have students that come from this northern Spain region to live with us in the summer. I think it's huge. I noticed all of this kid sponsorship. On the way out, I bumped into a guy who's been coming to New Life since 2000, and he had tears in his eyes, and he was just so excited because he was saying, "You know what? I signed up to be an advocate, and I took 5 kids' profiles, and I'm going to find sponsors for them." And he was really impacted by just seeing, the Martinson family up on the stage, and Karsten, 11-year-old, now 12-year-old, sharing about his passion to make a difference and see kids sponsored. And so I noticed that there was, a booth where it was everybody with the Go on the Mission team, and they're starting microfinancing and how we can invest in helping lift a community where they start to businesses that provide jobs, but also kind of build up the church, and help the church is able to build up a community where there's been poverty. So I'm excited about all of the people becoming the church. And that's what it's about. We don't just give money or show up on a Sunday. This is our mission, and this is our calling, and this is our passion. So God puts in our heart, He says, "Here's what you're good at. Here's what you've been through. Here's how I've shaped you." And we find our place on the mission together. And as we do this together, I think we experience the deepest kind of friendship and love and community that can be experienced anywhere when we share this mission together. So I just wanted to let you know what's going on just in my heart. I'm excited about Easter coming up. I've asked everyone, invest and invite. Who is it that you're going to have a meal with? You're going to invite them into your home. You're going to go out. Just be specific and write their name down and pray for them. I met with a couple today, and they're saying, what should we? I said, who are people that you're praying for? I met with a guy today for breakfast, and he said, "Wes, I feel like God's asking me to share my testimony." And I said, "Okay." I go, "Where do you want to start?" And he's thinking, "I don't know, maybe summer camp with the youth." And I said, No. Where do you want to start? And I said, "What if you shared your testimony with your family?" And you know what he's planning right now? He said, "That's a great idea." He goes, "What about on Easter Sunday? My family, my wife's family, all comes together, and I get to share my testimony of what God's done this last year." As here's a guy that is being freed from the addiction of alcohol. He had been living 2 lives. To be totally free, to be a good man, a good husband, a good employee, and his wife, just to see her so excited about God's doing in his life. And so here he is now planning this meal to be able to share. And I said, why don't you write down some names of people that you want to share your testimony with as you kind of get ready for that big moment with your family. So thank you for giving to the mission. It's making a big difference.